Well, good afternoon and welcome everybody. My name is Andy Sachs. Welcome to the Glint booth and thank you for joining us. We know your time is valuable, so I'll take just a few minutes of it. And just in case that still feels like too big a commitment, we are, as I mentioned, going to give each and every one of you one of these cool Glint t-shirts and the chance to win an Apple Watch as well in exchange for your time. So let's talk about employee engagement in today's world. Folks, we live in a new world. It is always on, it's constantly pulsing, and it's increasingly real time. In fact, real-time data drives and optimizes everything we do these days. We have real-time dashboards at work for finance. We have them for marketing. We've got them for sales. We've got them for applicant tracking and HR as well. In fact, nearly every function in your business has a dashboard today measuring its health in real time. We even have real-time personal monitoring, right? Devices that track our steps. We've got watches that track our calories burned, the amount we've slept. Our blood pressure is tracked by our watch, right? And we have thermostats at home that adjust in real time as well. And yet, when it comes to the lifeblood of our organizations, our people, what's the most popular solution today? Yeah, the annual survey. It usually contains up to 100 questions you're asking because, hey, if we're only asking once a year, we might as well make sure we ask everything, right? And then it results in a report that goes to the head of HR and the CEO, right? Let's get a quick show of hands. How many of your organizations have an annual or maybe an every other year engagement survey? How many have them more frequently, like every 6 months? How many have no engagement surveys at all? It's okay, it's like a support group. You can tell us, it's fine. All right. For those of you who have not experienced the pleasure of an annual survey, here's how it works. First, it takes weeks to plan, then a few more weeks to design, then a few more weeks to deploy, then a few more weeks to analyze, and still more weeks to communicate to the people who wanted to know in the first place. You know what happens? Too often, you end up with a really accurate picture of how your employees felt months ago when you started the survey. And that's the big reason why only 7% of CEOs say their organization is excellent at measuring and improving employee engagement. At the same time, 87% of organizations now cite culture and engagement as one of their top challenges. So they want to know, but they don't know. Why does that gap exist? Because improving employee engagement is a lot harder than setting a thermostat. There are many dials to turn, right? Which ones do we turn and when? What will the likely results be? Even asking the same questions more quickly isn't enough. To keep your employees engaged in our real-time world, here's what you need. You need more frequent measurement, sure, but you also need real-time data analysis to come out of it to create actionable insights, and then you need managers who are empowered to take that action on the engagement issues. To engage your people, you need Glint. So let me show you how it works. Through regular, elegant surveys called pulses, Glint helps you gather confidential data based on 18 key drivers of employee engagement. Now, the Pulse experience has a mobile-first design, meaning it's very easy for employees to take it on a mobile device like a tablet or a phone in just a few minutes. This is an example here of a monthly pulse. This typically takes less than 2 minutes to complete. Employees are guided through the questions and they're encouraged to leave comments along the way. You can use Glint's out-of-the-box questions. You can also add your own questions. You can mix and match, whatever you like. Glint supports multiple question formats and rating scales. So if you're on the employee side and you're taking the survey, that's it. That's everything you need to know. Sound good so far? Because I know you want to see the view from the back-end dashboard, right? You want to see what happens behind the scenes. And to do that, I'm actually going to pull up a live feed of the Glint website and the dashboard, and just to prove to you that there's no smoke and mirrors, we're going to refresh the page, and there we go. Nice, strong internet in here right now. That's what I like to see. All right. So this is the back-end dashboard, folks. As a Glint user, you have a rich analytic environment here at your fingertips, and it starts with the dashboard. What you see on the dashboard is dependent on your permissions. The HR team, the HR business partners, executives, department leaders, managers, everybody sees different data that's appropriate for their roles. Now, we're logged in here as an administrator. You know what that means, Amanda? We get to see everything. So let me give you a quick tour. At the top of the dashboard, we see your ESAT score. This is your overall engagement score for the organization. We see how it compares to the past pulses you've taken and your benchmarks, and then we can see how your top level teams, like business units, locations, we can see how they scored as well. Now, anybody notice this up here, this little bell with the red circle around it? That's an alert, and we'll come back to that shortly. The news section shows you information about your latest pulse, including your top alerts right over here. These are the groups of employees the system considers outliers because they scored really high or really low, or they had a big change somewhere in the middle since the last pulse. Glint automatically analyzes all combinations of your employee attributes. It might find, for example, that your female customer service agents in Europe maybe don't feel empowered to make decisions, especially the millennials, right? Glint does that analysis in real time, so your team can get that information quickly and take action on it while the problem exists, not months later. Now let's continue to scroll down to the driver section. You can scroll down and review how your organization scored on all your engagement, on all your drivers. You can change the sorting, as you can see, by the highest score, lowest score, alphabetical, and most recent. And you can compare these to your benchmarks. This is all 18 of those drivers represented in this area. All right. You can also see how the team trends are running, as well as which teams scored highest and lowest on that particular driver. You scroll down a little bit more to the team section. This will show you the engagement scores of your top level teams. At a glance, you can also see the top and bottom drivers for each one. In fact, you can dive into a deeper analysis from pretty much anywhere on the dashboard. You can click on almost any number you see to drill down. And you can see me do this. Or you can follow an alert like this one down here for the service team. This is the same note we saw before appearing here again, so you can click on it to jump on in. In fact, let's go ahead and check out the reporting feature in the Explore area. Glint is loaded with powerful real-time reports that'll help you from everything from presenting results to seeing which managers maybe have highly engaged teams and which managers could use more support. After the presentation, our teams at the demo stations can show you how they can make your life a lot easier. Now, one example that I want to show you is the engagement heat map report because it's a customer favorite. Heat maps provide a single view that shows your engagement scores by driver and team, helping you quickly zero in on your strong areas and your not so strong ones. See that? So let's say that you want to zoom in on one of these numbers. You want to see the story behind it. You can do that. It's got the whole combination of employee attributes, and all you have to do is add a filter to see just the attributes you want. Let's say we want to create a service team filter to find out what was behind that alarm that we saw on the other screen. Well, that's very easy to do. You just add a filter right over here, and I'll do it for you right now. We're going to click on New Filter. Then under Select Attributes, we'll click on Team. Then in the Service box, we'll click on Team box, we'll click on Service. Then we'll click Apply. And then we'll click Done. Now, you can see the heat map has been updated in real time just to show your service team and their particular scores. So you can start to do that deep dive. Everybody with me? All right, good. Now, one other thing I want to show you, and that is the comments area. I'm going to go up here and click on it. Every piece of data in this entire system plays a part. Everything has a role. The Glint dashboard and the alerts I showed you first tell you if you have an engagement problem. Then the drill down, the reports I just showed you help you pinpoint where that problem is. And then the comments and the analytics on this screen with natural language processing help you uncover why there's a problem and how to fix it. You know, you can also scan the comments page to see statistics. You can see common themes by driver or keyword. You can even drill down to get specifics. You can even get individual snippets of comments that people made when they filled out the survey. So this is really where you go to get that information. If you want to know how to improve engagement on the service team, this is where you drill down and find out. Now, remember the timeline I showed you at the beginning of the presentation for the annual survey, the weeks and months and months and months that are involved in that process? Look at this. With Glint, everything you see is processed in real time. No more waiting weeks for your survey to be read and classified and analyzed and delivered. With Glint, all your data analysis is immediately available. It can be rolled out to your department managers now, so you can take action while the problem exists. And you can make sure that your employee engagement problem doesn't become an employee retention problem. But you know what, enough from me. I want to introduce you to a lady named Joan Burke from Marketo. This is a great marketing automation company. They made the switch last year from an annual engagement survey to a real-time Glint engagement strategy, and I want you to hear what Joan has to say. Now, folks, the audio on this is a little quiet, and the folks in the aisles may not be able to hear it, so I want to invite you all at this point to take a few steps into the booth. Go ahead, it's carpeted, everything's good. Just take a few steps into the booth. It'll make it much easier for you to hear. Everybody ready? All right, Joan, take it away.
So from an employee's perspective, I think we're developing a whole new level of trust. They're seeing that we're serious about this, we said we were going to do this survey, we do it frequently, and we take action on it. And we communicate back to them, both kind of at a big company level, but more importantly at a department level. For managers, it allows them to really know what their people are feeling at that time. We're not waiting until exit interviews or anecdotal conversations to sort of pick up on kind of what's going on inside the organization. So it's giving managers the information they need to be able to do something about it at that point in time. And what we're trying to do here is to say to managers, you really are empowered to make these changes. I've just never seen any other product that's been able to so beautifully, point out and being able to sort of like just give you a picture of what's going on inside your organization.
Why do you need a real-time platform in today's world? Because it drives your employee retention and performance, and that's the bottom line. Glint customers are using real-time data to transform their organizations into environments where employees can thrive. We want to do the very same thing for you. All right, folks, it's time to wrap up. Just a couple of quick announcements before we set you loose in the booth. First, our next presentation is happening in about 20 minutes at 3:15. We run them twice an hour, quarter past and quarter of every hour throughout the show. We invite you to come on back, see it again. Bring your boss next time, would you? We'd appreciate that.